Hey guys, it's Ndoplex and welcome back to some more Monster Hunter Wilds. Now, in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys 11 hidden armor sets that you probably didn't know were in the game, because you cannot come across these armor sets naturally while just hunting monsters. You have to go through a few different steps in order to get these armors, and one of the steps is to complete a bunch of side quests throughout the village, and that's going to unlock the ability to do item trades. Now, item trades are a new thing brought into Wilds, and they allow you to trade with the various people and creatures that you've met throughout Monster Hunter Wilds. So you can see we've got trades with Kanafa Village, we've got trades with the Woodward, there are 3 trades with Azus, we've got a trade with Rove, Ren and Seka up in Suja. And so these are all the item traders that you can unlock within the game, and Nata here will allow you to trade to all of them without having to actually head over to each region respectively. So within Nata's item trade, you're gonna have a variety of different items that are offered in the left hand column and items that are going to be received, and each of these specific traders will reward you with certain things, providing that you give them a few materials, and the materials in question are going to be the ones labeled with a blue sort of check mark on it. I'll show you in my camp now the ones that I'm going to be talking about. If we go into my item pouch, if I go into the box here and we go right over to the last page, you can see all of these items that have this sort of blue paper sheet on the right hand side of it. These are all going to be tradable items which you can find throughout the world, and all of these tradable items on the final tab are ones that you can trade to these traders to allow you to obtain various different materials. And now, unfortunately, when it comes to these, not all trades are equal, and sometimes the traders will ask you for ridiculously rare items. They'll sometimes ask you for rarity 6 items in order to get some stuff, and then you'll go ahead, rest and reset, and they'll only be asking you for some rarity 4 stuff. So as you can see here, for example, Gaudy Dog is going to be offering us 10 ancient Wyvern coins to get 1 great hornfly. Now, a great hornfly is one of these tradable items to allow you to acquire an armor set. We're not going to focus on that, I'll show the armor sets in just a bit, but I just want to explain how the trading works first. So you can see here we can get 1 Suja textiles for 10 ancient Wyvern coins, or 1 great hornfly for 10 Wyvern coins. And now this is pretty expensive. 10 Wyvern coins is relatively difficult to come across, not impossible, and for only 1 Suja textile, that's kind of ridiculous. But then if we head all the way down to Seka here, you can see that she's going to trade us 1 Suja textile for 1 Dragon Scale vase. And these can be acquired quite a lot easier than you can get Wyvern coins. And it's a 1-for-1 trade rather than 10 coins for 1 Suja textiles. But that's not all that's to do with the trading. Now, if you go ahead and rest in the camp, just rest for any different time period or weather condition, it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to set it to plenty morning. If you do a quick rest, all of these tradable items will have refreshed and replenished, and they would have also changed what they're offering. So they're no longer going to be offering the exact same item in return, and also they're not going to want the same item. So I'll see if I can demonstrate it here. We'll go back to Nata and go back to Seka, and now you can see that she's not even going to be trading us Suja textiles at the minute. And maybe Gaudy Dog, is he going to be trading? No, he's not, but he's going to be trading us Silled Cotton now, which is going to be another one of these crafting materials. You can see here a product of high quality material that can be used. Try bringing it to the smithy. So it's kind of giving you a little hint there, but we can see that not all tradable items are equal, and here, this is a great one, for example. Thundering Fulgurite is super rare to come across, and I have got a video on how to get these rarity 6 trading materials, but Thundering Fulgurite is going to be one of these rarity 6 trading materials, and that is going to be traded here for 1 Dathaldon wool, which is absolutely crazy, because sometimes he'll be trading Dathaldon wool for pure Fulgurite, which is much more common to come across. So what you're going to want to do is basically go ahead and check these traders. You can see here, Fine Antimite is going to give you some Azus tan leather. Not a bad deal, but if he was doing it for the Antimite mass, that's way harder to get, and sometimes he'll trade you that for 1 Azus tan leather. So I would say keep resetting the worlds until you get more favourable trade options, and don't just take the first one you see, because sometimes the first one you see is actually terrible. Here, Wilk Gems are not the rarest things to come across. You can come across them quite commonly over in Wyveria, and they're going to give you some Azus tan leather. However, just above it we have Time Honed Wilk Gem, which is an insanely rare item to come across, and he's going to trade you that for 1 as well. So make sure you just refresh this trader every time. Rest and refresh it until you've got more favorable trades for yourself. Do not just stick to the very first one that they give you. So with that out of the way, how are we going to acquire a bunch of these trading materials? Well, the first way to acquire quite a lot of these materials actually is going to the material retrieval. And this again is tied to completing side quests. When you progress the story and various side missions, you will unlock the ability to have various NPCs around the different villages actually go out and collect items with you. So these guys have been collecting for a little while for me, and I'll see if they have anything. You can see they do have some trade-ins here, various lanterns, a few trade-in items there. And currently I've got them set to any, and I find this is the best way and the fastest way for them to actually accumulate trading materials. But, you know, if you're specifically running out of honey, you can check them on honey, and they will also bring back trading materials as well. It's not just exclusive to any, but I've got a bunch of loads of different stuff, so I've just kept them on any for now. Over here, you can see he's got a bunch of stuff, but no trading items, but that's absolutely fine. Apar's going to have a bunch of stuff, but no trading items. Plum Peach. See, Plum Peach has got a shiny treasure here, and has also got another shiny treasure there. Both of those are trading items, so we're going to go ahead and take those. And then Sabar has got a few of these. There we go. So we can see he has actually got some of this fine antimite. So antimite is going to be the more common variant, and the fine antimite is going to be the rare variant. So by just having these traders active and just collecting new stuff, it is going to actually help you quite a lot in being able to gather a lot of these trading materials without you having to run around and gather them all yourself. And to progress these, the way that they work is whenever you rest or complete a quest or anything like this, the time, so to speak, will progress. So say I go in here and I'm just going to rest until morning. We're not going to change the time. We're not going to change the weather. Just going to rest until morning. If I rest until morning, then all of these guys would have gone out and gathered me some things. I think they gather 2 at a time, so if you want to, you can just rinse and repeat this, go inside the tent, rest, and they should have collected me 2 items on each. If I go now to the item, to the material retrieval, there you go. So they've got 2 items of each. So if you go ahead and just rest, rinse and repeat, they will fill up these items pretty quickly. However, it is going to cost you quite a few research points. But if you've checked out one of my other videos, I will link it in the description down below about farming research points. You can get a bunch of research points relatively easily, so do not let that put you off. That is going to be pretty much a quick breakdown of a few ways in which you can get these tradable items without having to actually go out and gather them yourselves. Now, hopefully throughout playing the game normally, maybe you're at the point where you want to start getting some trading materials and you want to start finding these hidden armor sets. Hopefully throughout your playtime you might have come across a few of these materials already. Sometimes throughout the material retrieval that I was talking about before, they will not only retrieve you items for trading, sometimes they will retrieve you the actual item needed for crafting the armor set. So you might find that some of these guys might just suddenly appear with some sinister cloth, for example. So this is what I was talking about before. Sometimes, just for your material retrieval, these guys will come across the actual crafting material needed for some of these items. If they have come across any of these rare items, you'll be able to see them in Gemma's workshop. So with all that general talking out of the way, first let me show you all of these hidden armor sets. And the first hidden armor set I'm going to show today is going to be from Santiago, the support ship. Now, this guy should show up relatively early in the story, and he's going to act very similarly to the Argosy back in Monster Hunter World. So if we talk to this guy, we can request goods from him, and what you want to request is the miscellaneous items. Now, requesting these miscellaneous items, every time he goes away and comes back, he will refresh his inventory, and you can do this by either waiting and playing the game normally, or you can go into your camp and rest and reset, and hopefully he should turn up with some goods. But the specific good we're looking for is something called a commissioner's ticket. I'll go ahead and show me finding it now. Oh, there it is, the commissioner's ticket, yeah. And this commissioner's ticket, along with a few other items, is going to allow us to unlock the commissioner's outfit. So you can see it takes 1 commissioner's ticket per piece of armor. So you're going to have to get this guy to reset multiple times over with this commissioner's ticket if you want to craft all of the materials, all of these pieces of armor, and all the other materials are relatively easy to come across. You can see I've got a bunch of everyone, but this is going to be what the male set looks like. And this one is going to be what the female set look like. Obviously, the female set's going to look a bit weird on me because I'm a dude, but that's what both the sets are going to look like. Now, all of the other hidden armor sets on this list are all going to be from the item trade-ins, and I'm just going to show you guys all of these armor sets first, just so you guys get an idea whether you like the armor set and whether you think it's worth going out to farm the materials. And then if you decide that you like them, I'll talk more about how to actually farm some of the materials. Next we have the Kanafa set, and this is going to require you to have the Dathledon wool. So this is obviously a set we're pretty familiar with in the game, the natives of the Kanafa village. So yeah, pretty cool armor set there. Next we have the Azuz set, and you can see some of these are missing. Now this isn't because I haven't obtained them, this is because the armor sets actually just don't include this sort of stuff. So some of these armor sets will be missing pieces, but the Azuz stuff is obviously going to be the Everforge guys, and this is going to be the Azuz tanned leather, which is the one you're going to need if you want to craft this armor set. Next we have the Suja belt, and this is just going to be those two katanas you can see here, and this one is going to require the Suja textiles if you want to craft this item. I personally am a big fan of this one. I actually used it in my layer armor set, and it also changes the look of your knife. In case you didn't know that, it changes it to be a small katana rather than the regular knife. Next we have the Sild armor, which is obviously going to be from the natives of Wyveria, the Guardian people, and this is going to require your Sild cotton to craft, and it is only the head and the chest. Next is a returning favourite, and this is going to be the Death Stench set. This set looks absolutely amazing. It was a personal favourite of mine back in Monster Hunter World, and I'm happy to see it return, and this is going to require you to have Sinister Cloth to make this entire set. This is going to be the man set, and this one is going to be the woman set, which obviously doesn't suit me very much, but the headpiece on this one specifically is crazy cool. Next is going to be the butterfly set, and this one is, well, it's definitely a look. Not sure it's a look that I'm particularly fond of, but it is a look. And this one is going to require your great hornflies to craft this set here. There's the man, and the woman set is there. Both of them looking pretty feminine, I will be honest. So the great hornflies are going to be what you need for the butterfly set. Next is the King Beetle set, and this is definitely a funky armor set here. This is going to be the man's, and this is going to be the woman's set, and for this one is going to require the great hornfly once again. So if you want both these armor sets, make sure you're stocking up on these great hornflies, because both of these will come available as soon as you get the hornflies. Next is going to be the high metal set. Now this is just a massive tank armor set. Does look pretty cool, and it's going to require these Dreasite scraps, I think that's how you say it. So yeah, pretty cool armor set here, and this is going to be the one for the female armor set. Both two chunky armor sets. Next we have the battle set, and this is actually quite a nice looking fashion set in my opinion. That's going to be for the man, and this one is going to be for the woman set. I definitely prefer the man set on this one. Even if I was playing a woman, I'd probably stick her in the man set regardless. And this one's going to require you to have these scarred scales to craft this armor. And last but not least, we have the Melahoa armor. This is going to be the man set, and this one is going to be the woman's set. And kind of a funky looking armor piece. I do actually kind of like the man set. I feel like a few pieces of this might work in some crazy drip that you might have. But this one is going to require the great hibiscus to craft. So keep an eye out for that one if you're looking to craft this set. And now I've got a few bonus ones actually, because some of the Palicos have rare equipment sets as well tied to these trading items, so I'll show you these now. We have the Sild set, which is going to put him in this cute little hooded outfit. The Suja set, which is going to give him the vest and the frog on his head. And personally, I love the frog on his head. This is what I use for my main Palico. The Azuz set, which is definitely a funky set. And the Kanafa set, which turns him into this little Kanafa cat, which is pretty cool as well. So, as you can see, there's a bunch of different armor sets you can get from all of these trade-ins. And some of them are definitely well worth it. Others, I would probably, I don't know, keep my distance on it. But now we're going to head on to the portion of the video where it's going to be how you're going to acquire all these trading items if you want to craft all of this armor. So the first thing I'll say is, if throughout playing the game, throughout your item retrievals, your material trade-ins, that sort of stuff, if you've acquired any one of these sets, it's actually going to be fantastic, because if you can see on all of these sets, the group skills that are associated with all of these sets here, and even if you can't craft the full amount of one set, you can mix and match the armor sets and it doesn't matter. But the group skill set for this one, I will showcase it now, is going to be Imparted Wisdom. If you have 3 pieces of this Imparted Wisdom set, you're going to be able to get the perk Forager's Luck, and this increases the chance of finding rare gathering points, and this is super useful for going out and gathering any of these rare items, any of these tradable items. You will be able to come across them much more often if you at least have the Forager's Luck skill active, and that is going to be acquired by wearing 3 different pieces of any of these crafted armor sets. So if you're able to have one of these crafted already before you go out and find your things, that is going to be perfect. So go ahead and craft that to get your Forager's Luck skill, and then that'll make finding everything just a little bit easier. And if you're going out to farm some of these materials anyway, you might just want to consider throwing in a few of the gathering decorations, such as the geologist decoration. If you've got 3 points into this, you'll be able to gather extra items from bone piles and mining outcrops, and also the botany jewel, which allows you to get extra consumable herbs per gathering and stuff like that. So if you're going out to gather stuff anyway, I feel like you might as well just chuck on as many botanist and geology jewels as you can. Just because you're out gathering materials anyway, might as well gather a few extra with these things. But with all that said and done, how do we go about finding a bunch of these trade-in materials? So something to know is every single one of these trade-in materials has at least 2 different rarities, but sometimes 3 different rarities. So here we have the fulgurite shards. Now these are going to be dropped by the fulgurite crystals found around the Windward Plains, and these guys come in 3 different rarities. They come in the fulgurite shard, they come in pure fulgurite, which are gathered from exactly the same point but just have a slightly rarer chance to drop, and then you have thundering fulgurite, which I haven't actually got in my inventory right now, but thundering fulgurite is the rarest variant of this and is a rarity 6 item, and I've actually got a video coming later on how to acquire all of these rarity 6 items, so be ready for that one. But you can see all of these have their 2 different variants, and then occasionally one has a 3rd variant. You can see here that I have the rarity 6 large golden scale base because it will only show up here if you've at least seen one in the world. Since I've never actually seen the thundering fulgurite, it's not going to show up on my list here, but as soon as you see it, it will pop up. Just like how we have the shiny treasure, sparkly treasure, and there is actually a bulk treasure, which is a rarity 6 item. So the normal one you get from the weathered treasures are the shiny treasures, then you have a rare chance to get the sparkly treasure, and then the bulk treasure is again the 3rd variant of it, the rarest of the lot. Now I found most of the time with your item trade-ins, it is going to be looking for the slightly rarer version. For these trade-ins that are to do with the armor sets, it is normally going to be looking for the rarity 5 versions. And like I say, if you ever get any pop-up that go for the rarity 6, I would just reset the trade and hope that it shows up with something else, because trading a rarity 6 for one of these armor trade-in items is just not worth it at all. So with that brief explanation out the way, if you go to your map, you can actually see in the bottom left we have this filter list, and we have fast travels, filter icons, environmental overviews, and monster effects. And what we're looking for is the filter icons one. If we click on this and go all the way down to the bottom, you are going to see that we have all of these question mark locations. Now all of these question marks are gonna be our gatherable points throughout the place, and these gatherable points are gonna be for our trading items. So you can see here the Windward Succulent, this is the one that drops the aioli. Fulgurite crystals are dropping the fulgurite shard. Fossils, sandpeppers, all of these different things are gonna drop you the trading materials. So let's just do an example run. So if I go to Nata, so we can see here that Kalama is actually going to trade us some Dathaldon wool. I want to make the Kunafa set, so I need some of this Dathaldon wool. And he's going to want fine Windward aioli to get this Dathaldon wool. Now we can go to our list and find the Windward Succulent. And this Windward Succulent is going to drop us our Windward aioli. Normally the names should tie up pretty closely to one another, so you shouldn't have too hard a time finding stuff, like how the fulgurite crystals drop you fulgurite shards, the Windward Succulent is going to drop the Windward aioli, so not too difficult to see there. And you can see here we have Windward Succulents, but we also have these giant Windward Succulents, and these are to do with a rare environmental event which I'll touch on just briefly, but the most important thing right now is going to be the Windward Succulents. So that event that I was talking about is if we go onto our map once again and we go over to the environmental overview, you can see on the right hand side how there is a great Windward aioli emergence. And we can see there is a few locations dotted on the map here and here where there's going to be this great aioli, and this is going to be some of our rarity 6 stuff. So if I go ahead and set that as a waypoint, remember we've got our imparted wisdom pieces on. This is going to be the death stench to give us the forager's luck, so we're going to have a higher chance of finding these fine Windward aioli. But first of all, I'm just going to head up to this great Windward Succulent and show you guys what this one is here. because these random environmental events that occasionally occur are going to drop some pretty useful items. So you can see here how it's glowing, like the shiny little glow that you'll see, and that means this is going to drop our rarity 6 item, and that is going to be the Great Windward Aioli. So we go into our field pals, and you can see we have the rarity 6 Great Windward Aioli. We weren't actually interested in that one. What we were interested in is the regular fine Aioli, so we're going to have this one, and you see we just got Windward Aioli from that. Now, like I say, most of the time you are just going to get this Windward Aioli, but if you've got this armor set on, then you've got a higher chance to find the fine Aioli or the rarity 5 variant of whatever material it is you're looking for. So hopefully one of these guys is going to drop the rare variant that we're looking for. So there's a few more over here, and you can see you can really easily just mark these on your map. You can locate them very easily and just mark them on your map, so you can head straight over to them with your Sacred. So I'm just going to grab a few of these. More Windward. More Windward. If we go back to our filter icons, go back to the giant Windward succulent, we can see there's one there. So there's one there, so we'll just get on our Sacred, we pin it, and we just head straight over to the area where it is. And you can just run around the map and pick up all of these. Now, there are other events that happen in the environmental overview. You will have these upsurges in certain things. So we might have, you can see the timeline on the right hand side. We have Great Windward Aioli outsurges now. And you can see later on in the day, we might have mining outcrop upsurges, which is just higher chances to get rare items from mining outcrops and stuff like that. And that will happen with these trade-in items as well. So we cycle through it, and you can see these have a 14-minute recharge time. So you can either run around for 14 minutes looking for stuff, or alternatively you can just rest, and that will cause these guys to reset as well for you. So we weren't able to get any in that first run, but you can see we've just rested again, and this time round we have a Windward Aioli upsurge. And what this is going to mean is collecting that Windward Aioli is going to be much easier in this specific area because of the upsurge, and we've got a higher chance for it to be that fine Windward Aioli. So I'm going to go ahead and teleport over to area 16 where this upsurge is going on, and hopefully we'll find some of this fine Windward Aioli. There we go. So you saw that one was shining a bit more. That one is going to indicate that we've got the fine Windward Aioli. And now we can go ahead and teleport all the way back to Nata and trade this fine Windward Aioli for that Dathledon cloth that we so desperately wanted. Except wait, we can't, because obviously, like you said before, every time you rest, the item trades change. And now, luckily for us, he still wants fine Windward Aioli for the Dathledon wool, but this can change every single time. But once you've seen it once, you know that it can be a tradable item again. So you can see here, we've got a good example. We've got here, we're still going to be able to trade our fine Windward Aioli for the Dathledon wool. However, look here. There is a trade for a Thundering Fulgurite for Dathledon wool, and it's going to be exactly the same as our trade for the fine Windward Aioli. So it's just, this trade is obviously horrible. It's so much harder to come across Thundering Fulgurite than it is the... Basically, so much harder to come across the rarity 6 item than it is to come across the rarity 5. So never do the trades that cause you to use your rarity 6 items unless for some reason you have an absolutely ridiculous amount of them. So I would say my biggest tip is going to be to be able to get your Forager's armor skill, and then it's just going to be a matter of time. If you see in the environmental overview that you've got sort of like an upsurge of any particular thing, obviously we haven't in this area, but if you see you've got an upsurge of Aioli, or an upsurge of Thundering Fulgurite, or an upsurge, if you've got an upsurge of Fulgurite or anything like that, go ahead and go and get those materials as and when they pop up. Resting and resetting is going to take ages, and I would just suggest putting on your armor sets, pinging your different filter items on the map to find all of these question mark locations, and running around and gathering them, because between that and the material retrievals that you'll get, this is honestly the best way that you're going to be able to get these materials consistently. And obviously this is only in the Windward Plains. All of the other areas of the map have these gathering points for tradable items as well. So you can go ahead and do each of these maps in turn and get yourself a bunch of these items. And then once you've got all of the trading items that you think you might need, head over to Nata and make sure to get those favourable trades. And hopefully, by the end of all that, you'll have at least been able to unlock all the armor sets so you can see them and see which ones you might think you want to craft. And also have obtained enough materials to be able to craft some of these armor sets for yourselves. And get this Forager perk, which is actually pretty useful to help you get a bunch of other items. So, with that all said and done, I hope this video helped you out a little bit. I hope it showcased some of the cool hidden armors in this game that you don't get told about specifically. And that's going to be about it for me today, guys. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.